2-year anniversary of this internet show, but I have to tell you, I feel like this show got even better whenever we figured out that this segment had to happen. Max, it is time for free money
For your bookie.
Free money.
For your
My college football picks against the spread. Once again, another week of winners last week. 5-4 last week. I keep
waiting for the floor. I keep waiting for the floor to drop out.
I'm telling you though, like we're at this point, we're running out of games for me to really like collapse.
It's coming. It's coming. Much like
it's got to happen soon. Like I've got to really lay an egg one of these weeks. Like I got to go like 1-9 or 1-8.
Much like with our fantasy football league, I just got to hope that the floor is going to fall out from you and believe the floor is going to fall out.
Right now I'm 40, 22 and 2 on the year, 64%. If you're into percentages.
I got a good feeling about this week. It's a really weird group of games.
Week.
It's going to hose you. You're going to get hosed.
It's a tough week.
Ofer. It's coming.
Ofer?
Sure, I don't know. No, I got to believe. I got to believe in something.
What do we start with, Max?
Tonight.
Number
25, Memphis, the very surprising Tigers, who might be actually #good. Take on Houston. In Houston, 7 p.m., somehow, against all odds, defying everything we've seen to date, the Cougs are 2.5-point favorites.
I was really surprised by this line. I think that what they do is that this is a combination of Vegas not trusting Memphis on the road and trusting Houston at home, which, to be fair, is a decent way to go about things.
Yeah. And I suppose every team is allowed a what-the-hell game, and that's what Houston was last week against Tulsa, so maybe you don't hold it particularly against them.
Maybe they give them a mulligan. That said, it was, now, if you want to know about Memphis, it's a high-powered offense that throws the ball a lot. They hit big plays. They're more explosive than effective. They're a decent running team, too, though, as well. They do 25th in the nation in rushing efficiency. The defense isn't particularly great, but does that matter?
Yeah.
Does that matter? They're 93rd in the nation.
It's not like Houston's offense is particularly good.
Here's why Memphis might be actually #good.
Okay.
And where they have the biggest advantage over Houston in this one. They take the ball away better than any other team in the nation. Literally better than any other team in the nation. They are averaging more than 3 takeaways per game. Which, when you go to Houston has given the ball away 13 times this year. So if you want to talk about I'm not saying that Houston is turnover prone. I will say
not very few.
I mean that's bottom half of the nation. Yeah. Let's say they're mildly turnover prone. Here is a Memphis defense that will absolutely positively take the ball away from you.
Right.
When you combine that with the fact that Houston has no-showed offensively. How many good games offensively have they had?
2.
I mean, they played a bad defense last week, and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this offense is ever going to show up, and I think that's the problem. I think I'm taking Memphis in this one. I don't feel great about it. In fact, I don't feel great about all of these except with the exception of about 2. Yeah. I'm going to take Memphis in the points on the road. I'm taking Memphis plus 2.5. I just don't trust that Houston offense right now.
Right.
That even if Memphis gets to 24 points,
sure,
I might do it.
Yeah.
I just don't have a lot of faith in this Houston offense right now, and that's problematic. So I hope they prove me wrong. I hope I miss this one. But I'm taking Memphis plus 2.5.
Yeah, if the Cougs want to turn it around anytime, we'll be super here
for it. That'd be awesome. It's a Thursday night game. Maybe that's what Vegas is looking at.
Weird stuff can happen.
Weird stuff, but I will take Houston.
Right.
I'm sorry, Memphis plus 2.5. What's next, Max?
Number 10, Oklahoma State heads to the 40 acres, 11 a.m. Saturday. Texas, the Horns, a 7-point underdog.
So there is this is the steam in this game. If you're into where the wind is blowing, the steam is behind Texas. People are thinking, Texas is going to keep this close. I think this game opened at 7.5. It's now 7. Yeah. It's closing down. People believe in Texas. I think people still think Oklahoma State is some sort of trash horse team. I think that they're over. I think people think they're overrated. I don't. Yeah. I think they're really good.
They're really good.
They hit big play after big play in the passing game, and you saw that Texas can be prone to the big play in the passing game. It happened against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State might be better at the big play than Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They're number 2 in yards per pass. They do not get sacked. They protect Mason Rudolph.
Right.
They will throw some picks on you, and that's where Texas probably has to win this game. I think their running game's underrated, too. They're 14th in the nation in yards per carry. The defense is solid, but it can be run on.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam Ehlinger's going to have to probably run the ball well as whoever starts back there. I know Kyle Porter's out, but probably Chris Warren. They have to do that. Their pass defense is pretty solid. They do not get to the quarterback a ton, which is probably nice for Texas, and they force a fair amount of turnovers. I was looking at Bill Connolly's numbers, our friend Bill Connolly. I was looking at his numbers, and they tend to lean a little bit towards Texas, but
Right.
I think I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I think they cover it. I think they win probably something like 34-24, something like that. I just don't see. I don't know. I think Oklahoma State's actually pretty good, and so I think that I'm gonna end up going with the Pokes in this one. I'm gonna
Okay.
take Oklahoma State +7.
All right.
-7. Rather. What's next?
On the road. Look at you.
Two road teams.
Yeah. The Cyclones. Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Whoosh whoosh whoosh.
Head into the South Plains, Lubbock. 11 a.m. Saturday. Texas Tech, a 7-point favorite. Come on.
When's the last time Tech Iowa State was a 7-point road
I believe
dog?
the Cyclones have a 2-game winning streak over the Red Raiders,
My
too.
man. Iowa State, actually good.
Yeah.
They're actually good. Like, the passing game is very competent, okay? They complete the ball about 60% of the time. They hit some big plays to Alan Lazard, who's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
They don't turn it over. That's the biggest thing. They
Right.
don't turn it over. They're
Right.
8th in the nation in giveaways. That's really, really good.
Yep.
They have to, because, the
Right.
margin, they're good when they do little things
They have to
well.
keep the game close so that they
Yeah.
can win by a score.
They do not have the kind of athletes that are going to take over a game,
Right.
so they just have to play sound football
Yep.
and then beat you. They have almost no running game. The defense is okay, but the thing is they can be dinked and dunked.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're Texas Tech, that's how you're attacking this. You're saying we're going to dink and
And
dunk.
you're
and
built
dunk
to dink and dunk.
You
because
also
you're Texas Tech.
are, you're built to dink and dunk. They don't give up a ton of big plays, which is great. They make you work for it. They
Yep.
make you go and methodically move down the field. They have an excellent rushing defense, so don't expect a big game from Justin Stockton. If he has a big, if Justin Stockton has a big game, Tech's going to win that
Right.
game running
Yeah.
away. This is a tough game for me to call because 7's the perfect line, because I could absolutely see something like 34-30 or something like that.
Right.
I think Tech wins this game. I'll say that. I think Tech wins this
Yeah.
game.
I think Tech wins this game, too. The big reason, right, look, if they play to form, which is not a predictor of future success, but if they play to form, Tech is great at takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're good at. That's why the defense is better this year. They take the ball away. If Tech does that, they'll win the game.
Yeah. Basically, you're banking on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say coming home, I think Tech gets it. I think Tech wins this game. I think they end up winning by about 10 points, maybe to late touchdown or something like that. But I'm going to take Texas Tech. Plus, this is probably the game I have the least faith in.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone back and forth on it. In fact, I'm going back and forth on it right now. I actually have Iowa State underlined. But I'm going to take Texas Tech -7 in this one. I don't feel good about it at all. But I think they're able to force enough takeaways at home. That's where they've done a lot of their damage. I think they end up doing that. So give me Tech -7. What's next, Max?
Fair enough. The Ponies, SMU. They're heading up north, taking on Cincinnati, 3 p.m. Saturday. Chad Morris's gang, 7.5-point favorites over the Bearcats.
So Cincinnati, this is I don't know if people necessarily appreciate this, but Cincinnati sucks.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
They're bad. They're 2-5. Now, one of those losses is at Michigan. Okay, that's fine. But they also lost to Navy.
Right.
All right. They lost to Marshall. They lost to UCF and South Florida, who are both pretty good. So they've got a good resume, but they haven't beaten anyone worth a darn.
Yeah.
They've beaten Austin Peay and they've beaten Miami of Ohio.
Right.
Okay, they haven't beaten
It's a
anybody.
tough schedule, relatively
It is,
speaking.
but they haven't beaten anybody worth a darn.
Right.
And they don't do really much of anything well. They don't run the ball well. They don't pass the ball effectively or explosively. They don't stop the run.
Yeah.
They do not stop the pass, and the biggest thing for me is that they do not stop big plays. They're very, 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 very susceptible to the big play, and that's where Cortland Sutton can step up. They do not get to the quarterback. They're 120th in sack rate, and to me, that's the key for beating this SMU team is you've got to force some turnovers, because they don't force turnovers either. They're 108th in turnover margin. All this points to me, a SMU, I don't want to say romp, but an SMU comfortable win on the road.
Plus, they had an extra week to prepare.
Yeah, coming off a bye, that to me is the extra kiss. I feel really good about this. I'm going to take SMU -7 on the road or -7.5 rather at Cincinnati, maybe by the hook, but I'm going to say -7.5. Give me SMU. What's next, Max?
What could possibly go
yeah,
wrong?
Exactly.
North Texas, the Flying Mean Green, heading to Florida Atlantic, 4 p.m. Saturday to take on Roll Owls. UNT, 3.5-point dogs?
They're taking on Florida Atlantic. It's because Florida Atlantic's actually a decent team.
They are
but
pretty
Florida
good,
Atlantic is a team with an identity, okay? When we talk about so much about, like, we don't know what Houston is, right? We don't know what A&M is. There are teams that we don't think are bad, but they just don't have an identity. We know what Florida Atlantic is about.
Right.
They run the ball effectively. Every time they throw the ball, bad things happen. They don't hit big plays. They give up their fair amount of sacks. It's not a good idea when they throw. The defense is kind of bend, don't break, but they do not stop the run very well. The pass defense is solid. All that adds up to is a Florida Atlantic team that has to play from ahead. They have to play from ahead. If they don't, because what they do, everything points to them like getting ahead of a team, and then the other team presses, and they turn the ball over. They get sacks. They're able to step back and rely on that good pass defense instead of relying on what's been a bad rush offense or rush defense. If North Texas comes out and is up like 10 points in the first quarter, they're gonna win this game.
Sure.
That's what I think has to happen for them. I think this is very clear. They have to come out in the first quarter, first half, and take control of this game. If they do that, they're going to win. I believe in the Mean Green. Give me North Texas plus 3.5 at Florida Atlantic.
All right.
What's next, Max?
Boy, a bloodbath is what's next. Rice, the not Roll Owls, taking on UTSA in San Antonio, 6 p.m. Saturday. The Roadrunners reeling, but still 20-point favorites.
So you are telling me that what we think is still a pretty good UTSA team.
Right.
Who is calling me?
Someone very important, I'm sure.
What is still a pretty good UTSA team is angry and comes home to play maybe the worst team, Power 5, or maybe the worst FBS team in the country.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to take UTSA minus.
Okay, that was easy.
What's next, Max? There's not a lot of analysis I need to do. UTSA can name their score. They should be able to name their score in this game.
A nationally televised bloodbath. Kansas goes to Fort Worth to play number 4 TCU, 7 p.m. Saturday on national TV, and are 38.5 dogs to the Horned Frogs.
Max, I have a question, and this comes to us from my courier. I don't know why my courier's here. Anyway, I want to. This comes to us from our friend on Twitter at YellMK.
Okay.
What do you think is the average margin of victory for TCU over Kansas? They have beaten them all 5 times.
Okay.
What do you think is the average margin of victory?
Well, I know there was one that was way too close in Lawrence. But other than that, I don't have a great frame of reference. I'm going to say 18.5 points.
Good guess. It's 7.
Oh, not even close.
7 points. 7 points. So if you believe in that kind of thing,
right,
Kansas plays TCU tough every single time.
Right.
Now, the actual stats and the actual numbers point to a bloodbath.
Right.
Because
Iowa State beat them by 45
I will
and let
say
them
that
score nothing.
I will say Kansas is actually not an objectively terrible offense, but they're not very good. They run the ball okay, but every time they pass, it's a nightmare.
Might I throw an offensive curveball at you?
By all means.
The offensive coordinator for Kansas, Doug Meacham.
There you go. See?
Does he know a few things here?
A couple
few
wrinkles, maybe. Here's the thing, though, and what's going to make this a bloodbath is that there's no chance Kansas stops TCU. No.
Right.
89th in rush defense, 128th in pass defense, 126th in pass yards allowed. I think they are going to be able to do whatever they need to offensively, whatever they want. So I'm going to go with TCU minus 35.5. 38.
You're really good. You're going to go for it.
I think they're going to do it.
That's a lot of points, man.
I think they're going to beat them 48-0.
All right.
I think they're going to be able to beat them, name their score. Because this to me has Oklahoma State and Baylor written all over it.
All right. Fair enough.
What's next, Max?
Last game.
Okay.
23 West Virginia comes into Waco to take on the Baylor Bears, 7 p.m. Saturday. Baylor somehow is only a 9.5-point dog.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And it's because this is a West Virginia team that can give up the big play from time to time. Now, their offense does hit a lot of home runs. They're 17th in pass yards, yards per pass. They run the ball okay. They don't throw a ton of picks. They take care of the little things and stuff like that, the little things that Baylor's going to have to do to win this game. They don't force a ton of turnovers. That's good for Baylor. The problem for me is that Baylor has been very susceptible to the big play. See Oklahoma State.
Right.
And here's West Virginia, who that's all they do.
Right.
They
Big plays.
They throw haymakers over and over and over. This is tough for me because I think it could be kind of close.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'm just getting spooked by last week, and maybe I just think that Oklahoma State's really good.
Right.
But I think golly, this is tough. What would you do?
Oh, I think West Virginia's going to cover.
You think they're going to cover?
Yeah.
All right, you convince me.
All right.
I'm going to do West Virginia minus 9.5.
Yeah.
I don't feel great about it. That's another game I don't feel great about because I could totally see something like 49-40 or something like that. So my picks against the spread, my free money picks. I like Memphis plus 2.5 at Houston. I like Oklahoma State minus 7 at Texas. I like Texas Tech minus 7 at home against Iowa State. I like SMU minus 7.5 at Cincinnati. I like North Texas plus 3.5 at Roll Owl. I like UTSA minus 20 at home against Rice. I like TCU minus 38.5 against Kansas, and I like West Virginia minus 9.5 at Baylor.